What if the first miracle Jesus ever did wasn't about saving a life, but about saving a party? The thought of that always makes me smile. Because if you or I were planning a big reveal, the moment that everybody would finally see what we could do, we might pick a temple or a mountaintop, something really dramatic. But that's not what Jesus did. He chose a wedding. It happened in Cana, a small town in northern Galilee, not too far from Nazareth, where Jesus grew up. Weddings in the first century were the most joyful events a village ever saw. They lasted an entire week, beginning on a Wednesday, with the entire community invited. It started with a feast at the bride's home, with tables just filled with bread and roasted lamb and figs and plenty of wine. And the bride and groom were treated like royalty for those 7 days. They wore simple crowns, sometimes woven with flower or gold thread, and they were called king and queen. The neighbors stopped by each day to bring gifts or serve them meals. Joy filled the air, music, laughter, and the claps of hands as people danced together in the streets. Now, when evening came, the celebration would spill outdoors and the bride and groom would be paraded through the town in this really fun and jubilant procession. People would follow them, singing, blessing them, playing flutes, really eager to share in their happiness because it was one of the few times when the harshness of daily life would give way to beauty and abundance. I've performed a fair number of weddings, and my favorite part isn't the bride's walk down the aisle, although that is quite beautiful. It's when the couple comes together, standing right in front of me, and they turn to face each other, and they take each other's hands, and they begin to say their vows. That's truly holy ground for me, these two people making promises to love, to forgive, to stay, not just to each other, but also to God. I stand close enough that I can see the tears they're trying to hold back, and it's beautiful every single time. And that's what I picture in Cana. Jesus could have revealed his power anywhere, but he started where love and covenant were being celebrated. He shows up where joy lives. But then the wine ran out. And that wasn't just a small thing. In that culture, wine was a symbol of joy, God's blessing. So if the wine ran out, people might say that the joy also ran out. And so for the host, for the groom's family, it could mean shame. Now, Jesus' mother, Mary, notices what's going on. But she doesn't panic. She just turns to her son and she says, "They have no more wine." Remember, this is his first miracle according to the Gospel of John. She hasn't seen him do one before, but she definitely knows who he is. Maybe she doesn't know exactly what he'll do, but she knows he'll do something. And Jesus answers her saying, "Woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come." Now, first of all, I have to say, if my son ever called me woman, he'd probably get a lot of side eye, and then maybe we'd have a little talk later. But in that time, it was a bit like Jesus saying, "Hey, this really doesn't have anything to do with me." And he wasn't being harsh. He was just announcing to her, "It's not my time yet." But Mary doesn't argue with him. She simply looks at the servants and says, "Do whatever he tells you." It's like her faith is all wrapped up in one sentence. Now, out of view stand 6 stone water jars. They each hold between 20 and 30 gallons, and they're typically used for ceremonial cleansing. So then Jesus clearly decides it is his time. He decides to get involved. And this is the moment when he's going to show the people around him who he is, that he really is the Son of God. So he says to the servants nearby, fill the jars with water. And they do that. It's totally filled to the brim. And then he says, now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet. We don't know how or when he performed the miracle. It's just not told to us. But somewhere between the pouring and the tasting, the water becomes wine. And it's not just any wine, but it's Jesus wine, the best wine ever. I always say that when I'm in heaven, I hope I get to share a glass of Jesus wine with Jesus, because our time in heaven will be a huge celebration, filled with joy and love. I can't wait. So the steward tastes it, and his eyebrows kind of lift in surprise, and he's thinking, wow. And he says, most people serve the best wine first, and they save the cheap stuff for later. I think that's still true today. But you save the best for now. It's a quiet, beautiful first miracle. I love it. There's no spotlight, just this compassion that he has, along with abundance and perfection. You know, he cared about this family's embarrassment. He cared about their joy. And he cared about the details that no one else saw. That's just who Jesus is. The moment shows me his heart, how he delights in joy, how he cares about he cares about us. He blesses the covenant of that relationship. From Genesis to Revelation, God's story begins and ends with a wedding. There's Adam and Eve in the garden, and then there's the marriage supper of the Lamb in Revelation. So, of course, Jesus' first miracle happens at a wedding. I think it makes perfect sense. He is saying to us, this is really what I came for, to bring joy, to restore relationships, to fill our lives to the brim, to literally bring heaven to earth, now and forever. Thank the Lord. Later, Jesus will hold up another cup of wine and say, this is my blood poured out for you. The first cup brought joy to a wedding, and that final cup will bring salvation to the world. Maybe today you feel like the wine's run out. I have felt that way. I have felt that way for periods of time and even, hours at a time. Your joy, your strength, your hope. I mean, you've smiled for everyone else. You've done for everyone else, but inside you feel empty. So listen, just remember Cana. Remember what Jesus did. He will not stand back. He will step in. He's going to fill what's empty in you. And he turns the ordinary into something extraordinary. Sometimes Jesus works so quietly, we only notice later that he's been pouring grace into us all along. The same Jesus who cared about a village wedding so long ago cares about you. No need is too small. No story is too far gone. And no shame is too heavy. With him, the best isn't behind you. With him, he saves the best for right now. If this story reminded you that Jesus still steps into the details, I'd love to help you keep walking with him. You can download my free devotional, Every Miracle Tells a Story, a guide to Jesus' miraculous encounters, at my website, sandylaws.com. I have lots of great devotionals. You can download them all for absolutely free. And just between us, I'm working on something new. I've written a book. It's called This is Jesus, Encounters that Reveal Who He Really Is. And it's filled with stories just like this one. And I can't wait to share more with you about it soon. The next time in this series about the miracles of Jesus, we're going to be on a hillside outside of Capernaum. and there'll be thousands of people there, all of them hungry, and not enough food. And this is a big miracle because Jesus shows us how not enough can become more than enough. I look forward to seeing you then.